Good evening from Memphis. This is the night of October 13th, 2021. I'm in the parking lot of Kroger's on Poplar Avenue near Kirby. And I'm making a quick space video because it may be cloudy tomorrow night with some weather rolling in, and I wanted to briefly talk about what's going on in the night sky tonight. We've got Jupiter to the upper left of the moon and Saturn directly above them. I'll zoom in a little bit, see if we can see it. There's Saturn directly above the moon. Tomorrow, the moon's going to be quite a bit closer to Jupiter and should actually be between Saturn and Jupiter. I wanted to talk briefly tonight about the ecliptic and the plane of the moon's orbit, which is 5 degrees offset from the ecliptic, so it's very, very close. What happens when the moon and the planets are at some of these nodes of intersection at the same time? We get what's known as an occultation, when the moon passes directly in front of one of the planets. Now the ancient astronomers took great notice of this because it didn't happen very often. It only happens over a period of several years because the planets, whichever planet is going to be occulted, has to be at one of these nodes of intersection. And of course the moon has to be there too. So it doesn't happen very often, but it does happen every several years. I observed one in 2003 when the moon basically grazed Mars, and Mars was at its closest approach to Earth in several hundred years. So that was really cool. At the time I didn't have a smartphone or a YouTube channel. I wasn't able to video it. That would have been really cool. But in any case, Saturn and Jupiter, between them, have 80 known moons each, 160 moons between them, and 80 moons each, so they're both tied for the lead with the number of known moons. So if we were able to stand on the surface of one of these beautiful gas giant planets, the night sky would be quite spectacular, even the daytime sky, because some of these moons would be visible during the day as well. Now, most of those moons are not as large as our moon. In fact, many of them are only a few miles or kilometers across, so they might barely be visible to the unaided eye. And of course, we could not stand on the actual surface of either of these gas giant planets because there is no solid surface. But if we were able to float at the top of the clouds, the sky would really be pretty. There's several dozen moons orbiting each planet, and of course the hydrogen and helium that makes up the bulk of the composition of these beautiful gas giant planets is a gas until you get down several hundred miles into the atmosphere. Then it's compressed into a liquid, and from there it becomes liquid metallic hydrogen and helium, and that's what the planets are basically made of. It's not completely gaseous. That's just the top layers of the atmosphere that are gaseous, and then it's a liquid ocean of hydrogen, helium, ammonia, and some oxygen and water vapor. And then that ocean is compressed to the point where it becomes liquid metallic. And then below that, at least in theory, our understanding is that each of these gas giants has a rocky core. Of course, there's no way for us to measure that directly at this time, although we do have a probe orbiting Jupiter called the Juno probe, which is taking measurements of the magnetic field, trying to further determine the internal structure of Jupiter. So that's kind of cool. We're learning a lot of new stuff there. But be that as it may, this is the 13th of October. I believe it's about 10:15 in the evening. Thank you for watching.